In the news tonight, over 70 companies express interest in Guysuco's assets. Gaskin tells private sector stay out of politics. GCOM to seek more funds for local government elections. And in sport, squash players record wins on day 2 at CAC Games. Tristan Joseph will have all the details later on. This is our Friday, July 20 edition of the NCN News. I am Leron Bramwell. Thank you very much for joining us. To our top story. The valuation process of Guysuco's assets at the closed sugar estates is ongoing. Over 70 companies have already expressed interest in the assets. This was announced by Minister of State Joseph Harmon earlier today. Here are details.
With respect to the Guysuco estates, I'm aware that there are some expressions of interest for the estates that are to be sold off. Those expressions are amounting to around over 71 expressions of interest that have come in.
Minister of State Joseph Harmon on Friday shared that while these companies have expressed their interest, their applications are still to be reviewed. Harmon says in order to ensure that full value is obtained, the valuation of these assets have to be carefully executed.
There is currently an evaluation that is being made of the assets by PricewaterhouseCoopers, and that valuation will actually give us a good sense of what prices you're actually looking for the equipment, for the land, and all of these assets that belong to Guysuco. And so it is an important step in the process to have these valuations done.
According to Minister Harmon, this will be one of the largest transfers of state lands to the private sector in history. He says everything is being done to ensure that these transactions are not riddled with corruption. For the NCN News, Arifa Bacchus.
Now, a stern warning from government. Businesses are told to stay out of politics. It was delivered by the Minister of Business, Dominic Gaskin, at the Georgetown Chamber of Industry and Commerce's Industry Business Development Forum.
Because I believe that the private sector should concentrate on business and stay out of politics. At least until election season comes around, when you can decide which parties you want to support or which candidates you want to fund, because funding is, of course, a very key component of the election campaigning process.
Gaskin told those gathered that more attention should be placed on developing their businesses and enhancing the sector. Meanwhile, President of the GCCI reminded of the importance of eliminating corrupt practices from businesses.
The other one is strengthening institutions against corruption. And I will say just something very small on this. Corruption is a tax on all of the citizens of Guyana. We must do a day's work for a day's wage. And that is all I will say about corruption. Full stop. We must do a day's work for an honest day's wage. Full stop. The other one is stability and political stability.
The two-day business forum is being held under the theme helping businesses to be competitive, compliant, and compensated. Now, the Guyana Elections Commission, GCOM, says $2.9 billion was not allocated for the holding of local government elections this year. GCOM, in a statement, said the entire budget of 2018 is $2.9 billion, of which the sum of holding of local government elections is included. It said $160 million have been allocated for capital works and items and $1.6 billion for the normal operations of the Commission. The remaining sum of $1.2 billion was allocated for local government elections. In 2016, $1.5 billion was expended for the conduct of the elections. The Commission believes the current allocation is insufficient and plans to engage the Ministry of Finance to discuss supplemental provisions. Government announced Thursday that the elections will be held on November 12. Now, a $412 million pump station has been commissioned on the east coast of Demerara. The Hope and More pump station, commissioned Friday morning by Minister of Agriculture Noel Holder, is expected to alleviate flooding in the area. Christian Desire has details.
The newly commissioned New Hope and More pump station can pump over 1,200 gallons of water per second. The project, executed by General Engineering Supplies and Services, GES, alongside Caribbean Engineering and Management Consultants, was funded by the World Bank. Agriculture Minister Noel Holder says that the pump is crucial in meeting the community's much-needed drainage aptitude, specifically during the wet season.
I will not stand here today and tell you that the installation of this pump station you will experience zero flooding. That would simply not be true. However, with this pump station, your exposure to flooding during extreme events will be drastically reduced.
A call was also made for residents to desist from dumping solid waste in the country's drainage canals.
It makes no sense that the government spend hundreds of millions of dollars to put in cokers and pumps, and relief is not being brought to residents. So the residents also will have to play their part and ensure that in disposing of their solid waste, they do it in an environmentally friendly manner.
New pump stations are expected to be commissioned at Herstelling on the east bank of Demerara, as well as Buxton on the east coast of Demerara by year-end. A new sluice is also expected to be commissioned at Triumph on the east coast of Demerara by year-end. Reporting for the NCN News, Kristen Josiah.
Now, Attorney General and Minister of Legal Affairs Basil Williams says Guyana stands ready to tackle cyber crimes now that the legislative framework has been formulated. He told the National Assembly that all public concerns have been addressed by Cabinet, particularly Clause 18 of the Cybercrime Bill, which was amended.
Mr. Speaker, it is important to note this clause does not criminalize certain statements or words to ensure that freedom of speech is protected and not infringed upon. These include statements or words in whatever form that, 1, express disapprobation of the measures of the government with a view to obtain their alteration by lawful means. 2, express disapprobation of the administrative or other action of the government. 3, express that the President or any member of the government has been misled or mistaken in their measures. And 4, point out errors or defects in the government, constitution, or parliament.
Williams said the bill makes activities such as posting nude photographs and videos of persons engaged in sex without their consents criminal offenses.
Given the fact that the means by which criminals commit crimes today are evolving, ICT has created an anonymous and easy avenue for criminals to commit traditional offenses that we may not have envisioned at the time as being capable of commission through a computer system.
While commending the inclusion of certain offenses, the parliamentary opposition expressed the view that more consultations are needed. Well, when we return, former U.S. President presses for discussions between President and opposition leader and sought terms for construction of modern science and mathematics department at Turkine. Stay with us. Welcome back. A modern facility is to be constructed at the University of Guyana Turkine campus to house its mathematics and science departments. During the sod-turning exercise at the institution on Friday, Education Minister Nicolette Henry stated that the government is pleased to partner in such initiatives. Trace Romalo has details.
Vice-Chancellor Professor Ivla Griffith says the building will accommodate environmental and natural sciences programs. He adds that it will be equipped with a laboratory for research, thereby providing the space for technological and sciences development. The new facility will also support the university's petroleum engineering program, which will be launched next year.
Engineering requires significant preparation in math, and in physics, in chemistry. In other words, the sciences. So this is a critical part of the support, the pipelining to enable that to happen. And this facility also will serve not only the natural sciences, but also earth and environmental sciences with labs, creating better scope for students who want to study earth sciences, biodiversity issues, to be doing that.
Minister of Education Nicolette Henry says the initiative will better expose students to 21st century technology.
We have to focus a lot more in terms of the areas of science and technology, engineering and mathematics. And if it is one building or infrastructure that can help to move that forward, it is this building. And so I'm very pleased to see the University of Guyana collaborating with the Ministry of Education and the government of Guyana through its funding and support.
The facility, which is being constructed at a cost of $66 million, is expected to be completed by February 12, 2019. Meanwhile, the university's Faculty of Technology has been renamed the Faculty of Engineering and Technology. Trace Romalo for NCN News.
Now, President David Granger and Opposition Leader Barama Road have been contacted by former U.S. President Jimmy Carter, who has urged them to meet on matters of national importance. This was confirmed by government spokesperson Joseph Harmon. We get details in this report.
President David Granger and Opposition Leader Barama Road were contacted by former U.S. President Jimmy Carter, who urged them to meet on matters of national importance. Minister of State Joseph Harmon revealed that this led to the meeting of President Granger and Mr. Jagdew on Thursday.
Since it's information now in the public domain, yes, I can say that the matter was raised, and His Excellency the President acknowledged that he did receive a telephone call from President Carter, that the President was mindful and interested, in fact, meeting with the Leader of the Opposition to ensure that there are some matters which are in the national interest.
Minister Harmon says there were key areas that Carter suggests the President and Opposition hold discussions on.
These three matters, of course, involve national security matters, involve matters concerning oil and gas, and the matter concerning the environment. This, of course, was part of the discussion, and the Leader of the Opposition requested that we have a structured meeting, which the President was happy to oblige. And
speaking with reporters on Thursday, the opposition leader confirmed that he received a call from Carter. With regards to the meeting, he said discussions will be held with his party to decide whether they will engage in the talks. For the NCN News, Arifa Bacchus.
The Ministry of Public Security says young men account for a larger fraction of crimes in Guyana. As such, Minister of Public Security Camarade Ramdatan said through the Citizen Security Program, efforts are being made to equip at-risk youths with skills for meaningful employment.
We feel and we know in relation to a number of these statistics that the crimes are being committed by young males. And so we feel that that is enhancing a capacity of the ministry to address the crime situation.
The minister added that counseling is also being provided, with emphasis being placed on moral teachings and anger management. And the minister also declared that no political interference is in the work of law enforcement. He was responding to a question posed by the former Home Affairs Minister. We get the details from Arifa Bacchus.
Public Security Minister Camarade Ramdatan on Thursday denied accusations of political interference in the work of the Guyana Police Force. He was at the time responding to allegations by former Home Affairs Minister Clement Rohi.
There is absolutely no interference with the government, political interference. And in relation to the Police Service Commission, that will soon be constituted.
Minister Ramdatan further stated that there has been great improvement in the work of the force with the addition of a number of crime-fighting strategies.
Sir, the crime prevention strategies that are going to be and has been continuing and are in a process of work in progress have to do with use of information and intelligence to conduct covert and overt operations to get to these persons who are committing these robberies. They include sting operations, snap and deliberate roadblocks, random stops and search.
The Public Security Minister divulged that the force has been monitoring social media in its crime-fighting efforts.
And of course, a final one, open source monitoring of the print, electronic and social media to get information as to some of these where the offenses might be conducted.
The minister also debunked allegations that there is a loss of confidence and trust in the force. For the NCN News, Arifa Bacchus.
Well, still to come, City Vibes nightclub owner remanded over marijuana. Staying with us, you're watching the NCN News. 2 persons have been arrested after a box with 49 rounds of .38 ammunition was discovered in the engine of a motor pickup. Police stationed at Aranka Station in F Division, acting on information, stopped the pickup with registration PHH 222 at 75 kilometers Barama Road and conducted a search. During the search of the engine, a black plastic bag was found in the air filter compartment containing a box with the live ammunition. The driver was confronted and shown the ammunition. He claimed he was transporting it for a minor who was a passenger. The passenger was questioned by police in the presence of the driver and denied knowledge of the incident. Now, over $53 million have been spent this year to maintain roads stretching from Linden to Latham. However, the rainy season has been a hindrance to progress. Minister in the Ministry of Public Infrastructure, Annette Ferguson, says this responsibility has been transferred to the Guyana Geology and Mines Commission, which has already awarded several road maintenance contracts.
This was done to the following contractors: MMC Inc., maintenance of Rockstone to Mabura, $140 million Guyana dollars. This is lot 3. Maintenance of Kurupukari to Anai, MMC again, $131 million Guyana dollars. Maintenance of Anai to Letem, and the contract has been awarded to DNR Construction for the sum of $139 million Guyana dollars.
Well, this update follows a number of complaints by miners and residents about the state of the roads and the losses experienced as a result. Indigenous leaders have been reassured that the lives of all Guyanese women are important and the government will not sit by and allow the loss of life under circumstances that can be easily prevented. Addressing the final day of the National Two Showers Council Conference, Acting Director of the Maternal and Child Health Department, Dr. Ertanisha Hamilton, said steps are being taken to reduce the high incidences of maternal deaths in hinterland communities. She explained that regions 1 and 9 are statistically the 2 hinterland regions with the highest number of maternal deaths. She attributed this situation to several factors, including hemorrhaging before and after delivery, high blood pressure, and the fact that women enjoy clinics during the late stages of their pregnancies. Now to the courts, where a 40-year-old Clyde Garrett, owner of City Vibe Sports Bar and Lounge, has been remanded to prison after more than 43 pounds of marijuana was found in a kitchen cupboard at the place of business. It is alleged that on July 14 at Hawk Street, Alboystown, the father of 4 had the illicit substance in his possession. The parcel of compressed marijuana was concealed in the cupboard that Garrett only had the keys to. In court 1, before Chief Magistrate Ann McLennan, Police Prosecutor Jeffers said on the day in question, police found the narcotics from the narcotics branch went to the club and conducted a search, and the drugs were found in the kitchen. He will make his next court appearance on August 8, 2018. Well, that's it.
On NCN Sports News, I am Tristan Joseph. Now for the news, squash gave their best highlight on the day 2 of the Central American Caribbean Championship underway in Colombia. Playing in the round of 32, Sunil Seth and Chris Khalil cruised to comfortable wins in their respective matches. Seth defeated David Varela of Panama 3-0, while Khalil topped Trinidad's Nakamura Patrick 3-0 as well. Also delivering for squash with victories was Mary Fongafat over Trinidad's Marie Nags with a 3-0 win, while Barbados' Dominic Hayward narrowly defeated Taylor Fernandez 3-2. Seth is also set to get back into action later this evening against Mexico's Israel Salazar. The tennis team, however, got no victories on day 2, with the men losing to Colombia 3-0 and the women losing to El Salvador 3-0. Meanwhile, the men's hockey team is aiming to get their campaign off to a successful start when they played the Dominican Republic in their opening fixture on Saturday. Travis Seymour reports.
Head coach of the Guyana hockey squad, Robert Fernand, said that his side will have a good chance heading into the match with the Dominican Republic. NCN Sport reached out to Fernand, who will lead his team in the first practice fixture later this evening, about his team's chances.
Unfortunately, we haven't had our first taste of the turf as yet. Our practice session yesterday was cancelled due to the opening ceremony. They needed the buses for that. We're supposed to have a practice match against Trinidad this afternoon.
The coach noted that the nature of the service will certainly negate the advantage of the Latin American team who would have come into the match.
it's field turf, which is more like grass than artificial turf. So it may even the playing field a little bit for us since we are accustomed to playing on grass. So I'm optimistic. I haven't seen the Dominican Republic play. I haven't seen any video on them play either. So I'm going into the match blind, but I think we will focus on our strengths and see how the game goes from there.
Ghana qualified as the second best team in the qualifiers tournament in Jamaica. Meanwhile, the national women's team lost their opening match to the Dominican Republic 4-0. Travis Seymour for NCN Sport.
The Guyana Amazon Warriors have appointed Shoaib Malik as their captain for the 2018 Hero Caribbean Premier League, which runs from August 8 to September 16. Malik, a veteran of 103 T20 internationals and 264 one-day internationals, has had previous captaincy experience as leader of his Pakistan national team and with the Multan Sultans in their Super League. Shoaib is said to be excited about the challenge ahead, noting that he has enjoyed his time with the Hebrew CPL as a player with the Barbados Tridents and now look forward with great pride to captain the Warriors. Head coach of the Warriors, Johan Botha, said he is excited about the opportunity to work with Shoaib, adding that it's great to have the experience of the Pakistani player leading this year. West Indies takes on Bangladesh in the first of 3 one-day internationals on Sunday. The Caribbean side had a session on Friday at the Providence Stadium. Eric Collymore was there.
Fresh off the heels of a 2-0 test series win over Bangladesh, their first home series win in 4 years, the Windies will look to keep the momentum going when they go up against the visitors in the short format of the game. Speaking with head coach of the West Indies side, Stuart Law, he remains upbeat about the team's expectations heading into the series.
The last 2 tests were good for us in the fact that we finished inside 3 days. So it's given us a little bit more rest than what we probably expected at the start. So the boys should be feeling really good. We become a team tomorrow with the 3 boys who played in the Vice Chancellor's 11 last night against Bangladesh and Jamaica. So they arrive later today. So tomorrow we look forward to being a group and look forward to what this series holds.
Law called on his players not to be overconfident when they take to the field against Bangladesh. The Windies are currently 9th in the latest ICC ODI World Ranking, while Bangladesh sits in 7th place. However, the Windies head coach believes that in light of his side performances over the last few months, they are headed down the right track towards success.
We played well in series. We played some really good games. We've let ourselves down in other areas, but we've got to start putting it all together and start the process now. 16 matches before the World Cup starts, so we need to really make sure that we're starting to put together a nice core group of players, but also play good, positive, smart cricket. And when we do that, we're a very good cricket team.
West Indies' first match gets underway on July 22 at 9 hours 30, while the second ODI will be a day and night encounter on July 25, which bowls off at 14 hours 30 at the Providence Stadium. Nacasia Logan, NCN Sport.
The Athletics Association of Guyana is aiming to spark a collegiate circuit of its own by hosting the inaugural National College Championships set for a final showdown on Saturday at the National Track and Field Center, Lenora. With the preliminary rounds over, the Athletics Association of Guyana, through its president, Aubrey Hudson, shared his thoughts on the importance of his vision for the college championships.
We want to give our athletes the opportunity to continue to perform at a particular level and also give the institutions a recruitment tool to ensure that athletes remain in their fold at least for the next 4 years.
Director of Sport Christopher Jones pledged the support of the National Sports Commission during the press conference.
As the President rightfully mentioned, everything starts with the first step. The National Sports Commission is only too proud to be associated with this meet, and we want to assure the Athletics Association of Guyana, because we recognize that having these students participate in such a tournament, it can only work to the development of them.
Meanwhile, Hudson hoped that with the start of the meet, it will spark discussions into changing the curriculums to suit student athletes.
So we are looking at making the championship great and then try to support those institutions in whether it's curriculum adjustment or having coaches seconded to them, because we'd have trained a lot of coaches. We have registered, I think it's over 100 level 1 coaches, but we barely got like 15 of them that are active. So they're all just lying out there doing nothing simply because they don't have a job to go to. So for me, once we create the competition, once we make this competition big enough, and with your help, the media, it is really and truly publicized the way that they are be publicized, then we find the institutions are going to fall in line.
Bridge Paris North is the man the inaugural trophy will be named after, and he noted that the event was visionary and commended the AG for the meet. The finals of the National College Championships will be held on Saturday, July 21st from 1400 hours at the Lenore Synthetic Facility. Guyana Water Incorporated on Friday launched a round-robin knockout football tournament set to kick off on Saturday at the Georgetown Football Club grounds. Travis Seymour has the details.
The tournament, which fields 8 GWI teams from around the country, is expected to conclude on August 17th. The opening round will see Georgetown playing East Coast in the first match, while East Bank then meets Sanitation team. Also set to clash are Linden versus Berbice, then PIPB versus Port Royal. Managing Director of the Water Company, Dr. Richard Van West Charles, stressed that the events like these are necessary to build the human resource component of the workers.
It's critical in terms of helping the team fabric of the company to be strengthened. And we need to ensure that we find every means by which we can help the staff to meet each other, to know each other, and meet socially. Many problems in companies are solved in the social environment.
Elvis Jordan, Executive Director for Human Resource, believes that sport is a good link between employers and employees.
Sports can be used to bridge the gap between employee and employee's relationship. It's not all about work. You can get so much out of sports that can bridge that gap, that can act as a motivator for employees to perform at a much higher level.
Meanwhile, Chavez Hescott, member of the organizing committee, implored his colleagues to maintain a high level of discipline during the tournament.
Stressing to the captains and the regional managers, please ensure that your team exercise a high level of discipline in this competition. As I believe we can be a zero tolerance against indisciplined players or any form of indiscipline act. It's totally zero tolerance on that.
The tournament will cost the company in the vicinity of $2 million to organize, with trophies and medals plus gears for the winners. The games commence at 10 a.m. at GFC Ground on Saturday. Travis Seymour for NCN Sport.
Junior squash players left lasting impressions despite being unable to recapture the Junior Caribbean Area Squash Association Championships that concluded last weekend in Jamaica. NCN Sport recently sat down with Guyana Squash Association Executive Garfield Wiltshire, who spoke about the talented prospects.
The team performed exceptionally well. We did come up short in the final analysis, not winning neither the girls nor the boys team title, and then obviously finishing second overall. But looking back at it, we had some exceptional performances over the week.
At the conclusion of the tournament, Guyana finished second behind Barbados, who were able to retain their title after strong performances in both the boys and girls categories. The boys' teams took on Barbados in highly competitive matches, but eventually fell 3-2 to the Bajans. For the Guyanese girls, they suffered a 4-1 loss to Barbados, with Georgina Fernandez picking up the lone win for the team. However, Wiltshire believes that the current crop of players will only become stronger as time goes on.
The girls' team can only move from strength to strength. They obviously, with 1 year's more training, they will be obviously a lot stronger. And who knows, maybe in a year's time we may be able to retain the girls. But definitely the boys' team was probably the best team on show, but we just came up short that day.
Meanwhile, in the individual championship, Shamari Wilshire and Michael Alfonso earned a gold at this year's Junior CASA event after the two put on impressive showings in the boys under 13 and 15 finals respectively. For the girls, Obasedi Cadogan managed to capture silver after losing to Samiria Solomon, a highly competitive girl.